Okay, here we go. This is week 8 with work and industry. This is week 8. Get into landscaping, construction, and kind of setting you up for the last job analysis, part 3. Okay, these are the learning objectives. Trying to answer all these with this PowerPoint. This is our case. We'll answer this case around with the an on-site work conditioning program. Address all these different issues that he has. This is a welder profession. You'll see a lot work-related injuries, just general outpatient-related injuries. Their jobs, they really get beat up a lot. Awkward positions, static positioning, high-risk professions. On-site rehabilitation, what does it mean? What is it about? It's kind of a trending thing in ergonomics. The idea of it is to kind of rehab the worker back on the job. So getting them away from rehabbing in the clinic to rehabbing on the job. So the idea is to get them back to work as soon as you can. So maybe they can't do the job that they used to do, if it's a heavy construction job or a welding job. Maybe they can do something else. Maybe it's just an office job or driving the truck or whatever it is, but they're back on the job doing something productive, and generally you're kind of gradually working them back to what they were doing before, but they're being productive, they're earning a paycheck, kind of thing. They're back and part of the team kind of thing, taking part in the work culture, all that sort of stuff. To make this work, it has to be really much a team kind of thing. Takes a certain kind of atmosphere. The management's kind of philosophy towards illness and injury has to be the right kind around. They have to kind of buy into this kind of rapid return to work. Kind of the layoffs, production expectations have to, around the job atmosphere, that has to be very flexible. I think the bottom line is a lot of flexibility in terms of returning to work and rehabbing at work versus a clinic kind of situation, or just staying at home until they're fully healed kind of thing. And the evidence shows that the sooner you can get them back to work, the more likely they're going to return to work and be productive. The longer they're away from work, the less likely they're ever going to return to work or get back to the level they were. And this costs the company so much money the longer they're away from work. So it's really beneficial to the company for them to be flexible and to get somebody back to work in any capacity as soon as they can. Okay, a lot of labor and management interactions, policies, procedures in place for union negotiations if you have a union involved, injury histories, review types of injuries, lost days, work areas where injuries occurs, understand supervisors responsible for injury management, kind of clear roles as to who does what sort of thing. Communication is huge around all these issues. Regular verbal, written communication with all parties involved. As we're talking, if the worker is going back to work, everybody needs to be communicating. The therapist, the doctor, the management, the employer, physicians, employer need to regular updates to make return to work decisions. Payers use information to determine insurance reimbursement. Lawyers use information for litigation. Employers gather data for quality insurance. So everybody has to be very open about what's going on in terms of how the worker is doing, that sort of stuff. These are kind of the effective qualities. This is what the evidence kind of shows to make this kind of return to work plan work effectively for the company, for the worker, or for everybody really. Talked about being very cooperative. Everybody knows their role. Everybody's kind of accountable. Very active, very work-centered treatment. Incorporate job-related functional activities into each worker's program from the beginning. Interventions must be work-centered, meaningful, and relevant to the worker. What do I mean by work-centered? Very focused on being productive, doing things that are going to work for the company, and that's going to be meaningful for the worker. They can see that they're making a difference. They're contributing to the job, to the company, to the workforce, sort of thing. Interventions, planning considerations determine the physical functional abilities of the worker. This is where the OT really comes in, and that FCE, the functional capacity evaluation, and the job analysis. So it's that good fit again. Have you really determined that the job, this new job, really fits what they're capable of doing until they're ready to go back to their old job? Clarify workers' expectations and employers' intentions. Again, it's a good fit that the employer isn't putting this someplace where they're just not ready to do it yet. Actively involve the worker in the process, so they're not kind of putting into a position where they're not able to kind of function and meet the expectations. Treat the worker with respect and dignity. Identify the essential functions of the job, kind of like you've been doing with your job analysis. Implement ergonomic changes to increase the worker's ability to perform the job. Intervention planning considerations. Determine the accurate match, again, matching the abilities, that good fit. Created job placement for safe and productive work performance. Continually monitor the worker. It's not just put them there and forget them. You got to keep monitoring. This is huge because you're going to see that hopefully they're getting better. You have to make it more challenging, that grading kind of thing, activity analysis kind of thing, as they get better. And again, working them gradually over more and more so back to what they were doing before. Client education is huge. Moving towards, we talked before about that client self-management. So the safety awareness, body mechanics, posture, all these tips, use of these adaptive strategies, adaptive equipment, so they can do this themselves and not they're always cueing them and that sort of thing. Reactivation of the worker is the ultimate goal, getting them back to where they were. Give realistic expectations regarding workers' ability to accommodate changing new work situations. The framework, the on-site rehabilitation framework, focus on program based on two primary findings, the FCE and that job analysis that we talked about. That's really determining what they're capable of doing and what the job demands. Above framework will drive decisions regarding ability to perform modified parts of different job, ability to perform modified parts of actual job. So you could start out, they're not doing their job at all, they're doing something different, and they're doing just parts of the job, and then they're doing the job, but it's at a modified rate. Maybe it's only so many hours a week, and then they're back to the work doing it all the way. You can see how it's kind of a graded kind of fashion that they're getting back to work. Okay, so that's part